Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining in. Today's going to be our last class. Um, we're going to start in a few minutes. Around 8:05 we'll start. Just making sure everybody get a chance to join. And again, today's going to be our last class, so I'm really excited that you guys are able to join. We'll start in a few minutes. So just a couple more minutes and we'll go ahead and start for today. Thank you again for joining. We're gonna start in probably two minutes. 2 minutes. We'll start in 2 minutes. Thank you for joining. It's gonna be our last NYLA Level 1 class. I'm excited, so please wait 2 minutes and we'll go ahead and start. Thank you. All right. So welcome everybody. We're gonna go ahead and start now. Um, I'm excited for tonight. Tonight finally is our last class for Level 1 NYLA. So give it up a round of applause for Level 1 NYLA. There you go. I'm happy that you guys were able to join us and be with us every step of the way. It's been a phenomenal couple months. We started last year. It was October that we started last year, and today we're able to do level 1. So again, I know some of you were here last Monday. Some of you probably not, but I want to share some of the things that we discussed last Monday that you need to complete in order to get that certificate. So this is how it's going to look like. I'm going to give you guys till the end of the month. The homework for last week will be posted alongside the homework for today, and we're going to give you till the end of the month. I know Memorial Weekend is coming, so we're probably going to try to give you a few more days, because Memorial Weekend, a lot of people go out and stuff like that, but we'll try to give you a few more dates to get up to date. If you haven't turned in any homework yet, or you are a little bit behind, go ahead and do it as soon as you can, because already by next month, I'm going to start sending all the homework and everything to Cleveland, Tennessee. So you'll get your paperwork when it comes to when October comes. So just make sure that you're up to date with all the homework that it's needed to be handled in. And as soon as you submit something, we're going to be sending it to Cleveland, Tennessee. So you get your certification coming October. There is going to have to be a deadline. Unfortunately, if we don't have a deadline, unfortunately, we're not able to wait for everybody, and then we'll have people still turning in papers come in September, and that's not the point, that we spend the whole summer sending papers to Cleveland to get graded. So June 15, it's going to be the deadline to submit everything. June 15 is going to be the deadline. That'll give you guys plenty of time. Everything should be 1 to 2 pages. I think last week's homework was 2 to 3 pages. As long as you submit what's asked from you. With that being said, if we ask 2 to 3 pages and you submit half a page, then that's not submitting the homework. And if we ask 1 to 2 pages from you, and you submit half a page, that's also not what we ask from you. So as long as you submit what we've been asking, and you're clean and you do your homework, you'll be able to get full credit, and then you'll get the certificate of NYLA level 1 in October during the convention. So also, I don't know if you guys been able to check on NEO, but there are also a couple of homeworks already that have been given from the last couple of classes. So make sure that you're there and you submit everything that's been there. So as far as today is going to be the last class that we have. Is going to be about events. I'm going to be sharing with you the PowerPoint in a little bit, but just going to take a couple minutes right now to answer any questions that you may have.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Rosanna.
For level 2, when will that start?
So the dates for level 2 are already in the calendar, and they should be in August that they start. If you paid the $120, that was for both levels. If you paid only the $60, then that was for level 1. And if you need to register for level 2, then let me know and I'll send you the link again. And if not, you can go to seh.org. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put it in the chat box right now, where you could go and you just got to go to the youth, our youth department, part of I think it's chcog.org. You go there and you go and look for the youth department, and once you look for the youth department, everything is going to be there, and you look for NYLA, and of course you can register for level 2 if you haven't registered yet. If you register and you paid the 120, that was both levels, you don't need to pay anything else. Rosanna, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem, no problem. Level 2 should start in August, and that's the full certification. Level 1 is you're only being certified for level 1. If you want to have the full certification, you should be able to run through level 2. A lot of people also have asked us, what about new people? Can they join? Of course, they can still join for level 2. They can still join because they'll take level 2, and then whenever they do level 1 again, they'll be able to do level 1 too. All right, so do we have any other question? If we don't have any other question, I just want to say thank you as well for everybody that reached out. My wife was kind of sick last weekend, and I couldn't make it to Miami. And I know you guys had a great event over there of Zone 1, and I had to take my wife to the hospital. She was really sick. So I'm thankful for those of you who prayed and reached out to me as well. I appreciate you, and that's more than that I can ask from all of you, having that appreciation and special touch. I feel, that we're a family. So thank you so much for that. It was a sensitive time for me. I wish I could have been there. But there's sometimes tough decisions that we have to make. So I really appreciate those of you that reach out. I'm going to share my screen right now with you. Let me go ahead. Okay, can you see it? Good. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about events, trips, and more. Okay, go ahead. Can somebody tell me right now, for example, if you're planning an event right now for your church, or you have planned an event for your church before, what are some of the process that you take? What's the process that you take, or what are some of the things that you do when you plan an event? Let me hear some of you guys.
Find volunteers for the event.
Nice. For what exactly?
Like, for example, the production, or finding ushers, or finding greeters, maybe even the worship band for that day.
Right. So volunteers is really important. What else?
Finding a guest speaker or preacher, someone to bring the message of the word for that night, whether it be someone from the group or an outside resource.
Amen. Yeah, of course. The special preacher, whoever, right, is going to deliver that word. That's extremely important as well. What else?
You want to try to find a time slot that you can squeeze into.
Nice. So you're talking about the service order, right? What else can you say about the service order, someone?
You want to organize it in a way that it's effective, so that nothing clashes with each other, so that the spirit has time to move.
Nice. So that's exactly the service order. You want to make sure that you do something that is sensitive to the spirit, I'm sorry, and to the people. Yeah, go ahead. You wanted to say something else?
No, that was it. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. No problem. I have a few people commenting on the chat. Johnny says, speak with the pastor first about the idea, game plan that you have in mind. That's correct. You always want to make sure that you run it by the pastor. Yaritza said, make sure the parents are aware of what the event is and what it entails. Wendy says, escoger un día en el calendario que no coincida con otros eventos en la iglesia local. Y muy bien, y también con eventos de la región. Muy bien. Beatriz, pray, have meetings with people, leaders to discuss ideas. Great. All of these are really good ones. So we're going to go and we're going to be talking section by section. Yaritza says also ask your youth what events they would like to see. Muy bien. And we're going to take section by section. I like this accounts per student. And I don't know if any of you have done this before. If you have done this, let me see the hands of you if you have done this before. No? If you have done this, just say, unmute your mic and say, I've done it before. And if not, then that's no problem. Okay, no problem, no big deal. I definitely done this before when I was a youth pastor back several years ago in Kissimmee. And you have, for example, and why back then we used to do this, and why I think it's a good mechanism to teach your students. You do a fundraising, right? And you do a fundraising and you collect out of the fundraising $600, and then you have potentially a 20 students or that are part of your youth group. If you take those $600 and you divide them by those 20, you'll have only $30 per person. But then let's say that out of those 20, only 6 showed up. So what I will do is, you are not going to get credit from the money that we collect or the money that we raise if you don't show up. Because for those 6 people that showed up out of the 20, I will be able to bless them with $100 each. So if we talk about youth camp, for example, which is an event that is $135 usually, early bid registration, but then you add transportation, which probably in Kissimmee was like $50 per person. Now you're at 185. Let's just round it up to 200. Now you have half, including transportation, of what that person needs with only one event that they came and they supported. So you teach your students to be able to support the fundraising, to be able to support the events that we do in order to receive the money, because then you will have students that will never come to support, that will never show up, and they're getting paid, or you're helping them for no help at all. I don't know if that's making sense. How are you guys understanding me so far? Good. So you divide and you say, okay, and let's stick with camp. It's 135 per person. Is, let's just say, $70 that we need to raise for transportation. For some of you in Miami, maybe 100. Right? So you're looking already anywhere between 185 to 235, depending on the transportation, depending where you are at. And you're looking at that event. And if you would add Winterfest, right? If you're planning ahead, you're planning for the whole year, usually early bid for Winterfest is $35 plus 1 night. Let's say that you gotta pay another $25 or $50 for the night in the hotel, and then if you gotta pay transportation, whatever the case may be, let's just say that it runs up to be $100. So now you're at only covering for the event without the expenses, $300 per person per year. So you do these events and you say, like you see in the example, Susie Brown, she was able to show up to the cake auction. Palm, there you go. She has 150. But then she needed a payment for camp. So she took off of her account $25. Now she has a balance of 125. And then she needed to take off $50 from Winterfest payment. Now she has $75 in her account. So that way she showed up, right, to the cake auction. And because of those $150 that we're able to raise, now she was able to get money for the camp. She was able to get money for the camp, and she was also able to get money for Winterfest. So as you could see, you are building your account and also giving giving a reward or rewarding those that participate in the fundraising. Okay. Let me ask you this. What will you do with, and this is in every church, so don't feel bad. This is in every church. It would happen to me as well. What would you do if you're in a case where, for example, you have one person that didn't show up at all, and to no event, but then at the end of the day, they talk to your pastor, they go to your pastor, talk to their pastor, and in that meeting, you were not part of the meeting, but in that meeting, something was discussed that the pastor comes and tells you, hey, we need to give $100 to so-and-so. I just want to hear some of your ideas of how will you help out that individual based on the events that you raised, and how will you be able to also have that conversation with that person that hasn't showed up, but then basically, I guess they had a personal or family matter, and the pastor wants to help. How will you do that? I want to hear some of you.
That happened to us one time at our church, and at the time we didn't have our youth funds, and so we had to either one do a quick fundraiser for the youth member, or ask the church to give us like maybe half of what we needed for that day, and then we took care of the other half. And so that's what we would do. We would kind of do an activity, and the church will help us halfway. But now, because of that, we have like emergency fund. You could put it that way in quotations, just in case
Nice.
that happens again.
Nice, beautiful. I love that emergency fund. Well done, Richard. Anybody else that want to share? Any other idea? Anybody else? Okay. Well, this is what I had in mind, because usually when I was a youth pastor, this will happen a lot, right? So the first time that it happened, I unfortunately had to have a conversation with some of the more mature students, and that I knew that I also can talk to their parents and they would understand the situation, because we will have to take a few bucks from here and there in order to provide to that student in particular. But I learned from that experience, and then what I would do is I would always have one event or fundraiser that will be really close to the event that we were going to, and from there already be able to allocate money for these students that the pastor will bring and say, hey, like these people are homeless, or these people they just had a family member that passed away, or hey, their parents got fired from work and they don't have money. Whatever the case might be, I'll be able to do that. Another thing that I also wanted to do was I always would ask the pastor for that Sunday before youth camp or that Sunday before Winterfest. I would ask for that Sunday before and that Sunday after. And why? Because that Sunday before, I will go and I would ask in front of the church for a special donation or scholarship. I wouldn't bring any student to the altar or anything like that. And if I will bring several, but not asking people to donate money for them, but for the group as a whole, right? And then why that one before? Because that would technically be the last last case scenario in which I would be able to raise a little bit of money to help that family or help those students. And why the one after? Because when you raise the money and the event happens, the one after, you bring the students and you bring those that you took to the event to be able to testify what happened in the event. And in a way, when they're testifying, those that helped out with money and gave money to be able to help those students can hear the testimony and say it was worth it. Okay, let's move on. Advertising, promo. How important is advertising and promoting an event? Can I hear some of you? What's the most important thing about advertising, promoting an event, and what's some of the ways that you use to advertise and promote an event?
I think now one of the most important things is that it can be catchy and quick.
Eliezer, I can barely hear you.
Yeah.
No te oigo muy bien, te oigo lejos.
Can you hear me?
Sí, te oigo pero lejos.
Give me 1 second. All right. I don't know if you can hear me better.
Better now.
You can hear me better? Okay. One of the most important things nowadays has to catch students' attention really, really quick. and the video itself has to be fast because attention spans are very short nowadays, and it has to be straight into the point. So that's
Nice.
one of the main things.
I like what Eliezer is saying. Make a creative announcement, ad, commercial, whatever the case might be, so it catches the attention of the students, their families, so on and so forth. Really, really good. What else? What are some of the other ways that we use in 2021?
A lot of the younger people, they spend most of their time on Instagram.
Thank you.
So like using Instagram stories, posting stuff there probably works better than sending a text message. And it's something that they can easily share with their friends. So it's much more convenient.
There you go. Wendy says social media, and that's what Richard is saying too. Social media, Instagram. ¿Qué otros medios más? No sé si Wendy nos puede ayudar. ¿Qué otros medios más se utilizan en social media?
So, there's a side note. We have a platform that we use for church. It's called Bag, and it's like a type of Facebook. And it's everybody that's in the youth group uses it, right? So, but it's like closed group, so it catches everybody's attention and the actual youth group that needs to be it. It's called the Bag app. It's really good.
Nice. So it's like a Facebook. That's good. Y Wendy dice también, we can use our same service to promote. That's right. All right. So some of the ideas that I was able to say here, or at least that you guys could see, and you guys mentioned some of those. Social media, and you see to the right, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I was waiting for TikTok, man. I said 2021, and nobody mentioned TikTok. I'm so disappointed. Snapchat, WhatsApp. Those are some of the social media that we can use. How can we, no worries, Wendy's. How can we use TikTok in 2021? I know that maybe some of your pastors and churches say que eso es del diablo, pero how can we use TikTok in 2021 as a Christian tool?
I mean, you could use since TikTok is very fast, it's like a quick 5-second attention grabber, and you could use that to promote an event very quickly or do a skit. So skits are, or use a song that you can use to promote the event.
Any song?
I hope it's a Christian song.
Okay, yeah, there you go. No, yeah, we have to make sure that we underline that, right? You gotta make sure you use a Christian song. Muy bien. Social media, text messages, stories, and when I say stories, I mean both. Instagram stories, Facebook stories, but also stories of students, testimonies. If you're talking about youth camp, what happened last year in youth camp that blessed your life or blessed the life of so-and-so student, and how could that happen again with your son or with your daughter, right? Testimonies in service. Wendy mentioned this, and I believe Wendy and somebody else mentioned this, in service creative commercials, right? Entonces, hold on before I move here. So anything else that we want to add to this, to these that we have just mentioned, advertising and promo? It was and Eliezer also. Eliezer mentioned one too. Anything else that we want to add to advertising and promo? Nothing? Think about something.
don't know if Tumblr could be one. I'm not
Tumblr.
sure.
Yeah, it could be one too. Also, in other ways of doing this, I know this is pretty 2000 and 2000, like 1999, 2000 probably. This has to be like a 20-year-old thing, but we could also go with physic promo or like actual in-person promo, like flyers and things like that to specific uh, businesses or restaurants, so on and so forth, right? But that's pretty old school. Anyways, moving on. Calendar and deadlines. How important is that we have a timeline and we have deadlines for our youth? And I want to say even more for our Hispanic youth, our Hispanic students. Why deadlines, why timelines, calendars are so important? What do you think? No todos a la vez.
I think as Christians it's very important for us to have order in the church, and if there's deadlines, then it kind of trains the youth as well to have that mindset as well. And when we all become older, and then we're the adults in charge of the church, then we're not running around in chaos. You know what I mean? So there has to be order.
Correct. What else? I like Yaritza, I don't know if you want to say what you wrote, but I like yours, what you wrote.
Sorry, I have 3 munchkins running around, but yeah, it's trying to keep the parents accountable, but also keeping things structured and everyone accountable for what they're either supposed to do or what they're supposed to bring based on that deadline.
Very good. And Daddy Lopez, do you want to share what you wrote?
Yes, it helps to have things always organized and on time, like, because as Yarita said, we are like Hispanic and we always leave everything for last minute. And
thank you.
And wait for the last minute to pay or have the things done. So that's better to have deadlines.
Good. Y Wendy Ávila también dice, también creo que nuestras culturas son muy diversas y esto nos ayuda a mantener orden. Y Geraldine dice to keep being on track and don't get backed up. Correcto. Everybody has mentioned something that is pretty consistent with what we're talking about, and is order. Also, with the Hispanic population, we like to procrastinate. That's, in our nature, that's who we are. We get to church late. We pay late. So it's just Hispanic people. So deadlines will help you alleviate the load. I'm gonna bring you behind the curtain for a minute, right? To give you a little scoop of what it's like to be a youth director. Okay, I'm gonna bring you behind the corner. This is exclusive. This is something VIP right now, only for you guys. But listen, one of the strategies that I use with deadlines is because I'm really good in statistics. In my master's, I've been certified with statistics. So that's basically if you're doing a research project and you have a component of statistics, you can come to me and I just certify that you have your variables, that you have, I don't want to get into the whole details, but if you're doing a research project, you can show it to me. If everything is right, I can certify that all the statistics were in place and that you don't have anything tricky that might alter the final product or outcome of that research paper. Anyways, bringing this back to what we're talking about, I'm really good with numbers, bottom line. And what I've seen through the years is that there is it's like a 40 20 40, right? I'm gonna say that one more time: 40 20 40. Okay, so I do an extra early bird, which is 135, and there is a deadline. And usually 40% of the people utilize that deadline, 40%. Then I have a second deadline, and then between the first deadline and the second deadline, there is only $10 more. But then between the first deadline and the third deadline, there's a difference of $20. But again, only difference of $10 between the second and the third. So a lot of the people that don't pay for the first deadline, what they just say is, I'm just gonna pay on the spot. I don't care about 10 more dollars, right? So that's why you see 40% of the people that are gonna go to an event, or at least to youth camp, let's just keep talking about youth camp, 40% of them are gonna use the extra early, and then only 20% are gonna use the normal regular fee, because the majority of them are thinking, well, it's only $10 of a difference. I'll just pay on this. I just pay on the spot, and that's why you get another 40% paying on the day of. So imagine if I wouldn't have that first deadline, I will only have one. I will have potentially 60% of my people, which it will translate out of 1,000 students, it will translate to 600 students just registering the day of youth camp. So again, this is what we have deadlines, so we can alleviate at the end what it's like with registration. And then we get parents, we get pastors, we get counselors that criticize our registration process. But it is what it is. That was a little scoop behind the curtain for your Monday night NYLA, a minute with the youth director. All right, let's go back to the presentation. That's why we have deadlines. That's why we have calendars, because we have order, and at the same time we push people to pay before and keep everything cohesively. Okay, so that's what we got. Moving forward, next one. We have events, right? And now we're gonna dive into the actual thing, which is event. We're gonna dive into one of the main things that we have to discuss, okay? And before I do this, when you are planning an event, you guys already did you already mentioned many ideas, okay? Some of the ideas that I want to share with you are these, okay? Number one, a to-do list. A to-do list, right? You want to make sure that you have all the little details in there and you don't forget about them. When I plan camp, I have a to-do list also next to me, which the to-do list brings the food for camp, the golf cars, let's say. We have also the sports equipment. We have also maybe shirts that we're going to be selling or giving out. We have production, and there is the to-do list, and we divide it by sections of how we're doing a big event, right? And then we have the timeline of things that we want to accomplish and by when we want to accomplish those things. And just like a wedding, just like a quinceañera or sweet 16, you plan from the back forward, from the day of, 2 weeks from the day of, we want to accomplish this. And then you go back for a little bit more. A month from the event, we want to accomplish this. 6 weeks, 8 weeks before the event, we want to accomplish this and this, so on and so forth. You want to have confirmations. Barbella mentioned speakers and probably artists, bands. So you want to make sure that you have the confirmations from the hotels, the rentals, if you're renting cars, if you're renting vans, everything. You want to make sure that you have those. And you also want a spreadsheet with everyone's name and information, right? And during registration, we do that. We also do something that you guys may heard before called Acomodo, and we do that through Excel as well. And if we have vendors, also their contact information, so on, so forth. Anything that comes to your mind that we should add to that list. Let me hear you. Anybody else? Maybe at your level that you want to add?
Andrew, can you repeat the question?
How are you guys getting to youth camp?
A church van.
Church van, and if not, probably like a coach van that from the district that they rent, right? So how do you guys get there? What do you guys do for that? Church van, gas costs, stop for food, correct. If a student asks you, hey, or a parent from a student asks you, how much money should I give my son or daughter? What will you say?
Okay, so when it comes to church camp, from the years that have gone, I always tell parents to give their child maybe about close to maybe $80, $90. And that's maybe stretching it, but just in case, you know, something happens.
Okay. That's pretty solid. I mean, I wouldn't go beyond $100 if a student, well, if a student shows up with $100, I just pray that God touches that room that he's sleeping in on the first night, because that kid is gonna get some money stolen. Okay, I see here $50 to $100 for food, shirts, ofrenda. Very good. Anybody else? Let's say that a parent again asks you, what should my son or daughter take to youth camp? And I know you're gonna say clothes, perfume, or cologne, or a brush and all that good stuff. But what exactly you don't want them to take? Let's talk about that. What don't you want them to take to youth camp?
I try and make sure that I tell my parents that they don't bring anything of expensive value other than their phones. We don't want any iPads, anything along those lines coming. They're coming for the Lord. If they have electronic Bibles, if they're not on their phone, to bring their physical Bible, because we don't want anything to go missing. We are not responsible for that. So if you brought it and it's stolen, then that's per that child. But we try to make sure that they only bring the essentials. We give them a list of things that they should be bringing to camp. And then just everything else. And then obviously the electronics that we don't want them to bring. But other than that, not much else. We ask them to come with a happy spirit. We ask them to come with the idea of making friends and to be open-minded to the people that are sleeping in their cabin as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. I would add, and I don't know if you guys done this before, and if you guys have, I would love if you please give me your 2 cents on this and how you guys would do it. I have que traigan lo necesario, nada costoso y nada peligroso. Daddy, very good, very, very good. No iPads. Very, very good. Okay. I want to add, don't overpack. Thank you, Richard. I want to add these 2 things, and I want to ask you as well for this. Sign up registration link, or if you still do it old school with a sign up sheet, and delegate. Okay. And I want to hear some of you guys talking about these things. What exactly do you use as a registration link?
We're old school, so we use paper.
Paper, good. That's still good.
Yeah, we use paper. We make sure parents have seen it. They have a signature. We have a pastoral signature that goes along with it. And I guess the delegation part, making sure all of my team or people who are with us that are going to camp have an idea of what they're going to be taking care of. Like, I'm a girl, so I mostly can't be in the guys' cabins, and I can't really be like, hey, you have to shower, and hey, make sure you use deodorant. I can't do those things. So when it comes to camp, and if I don't come with a guy counselor, I try to see who's in that cabin with them, and we'll switch out. I have your girls, you have my boys, like, pay attention, or like ponle o pegar un ojo, lo que sea, so that way we're covered on both ends.
Very good. Let's talk about forms. What type of forms do you have your parents sign?
We do paper, but then what I do is like I upload them on an Excel sheet so that I can have them as well, just in case like we lose any paper or anything. I can upload it as a PDF file as well, like scan it and kind of like put it on a computer.
Very, very good. I like that. You're making a little hybrid like that. Very good. And then what type of forms? You need a consent form, right? If you're taking minors, how does that look like for you? And what's the process to have those consent forms signed from your parents?
I usually approach the parent directly. So like I don't take the form from the kid directly, like, hey, my mom signed. I prefer to have the parent like give it to me or like sign it right there, just for security.
Very good. Yeah, or you guys could also do a meeting 2-3 weeks before the event with the parents to give them an orientation, and that day they all sign the consent form. That's also a good way of doing it, right? What are some of the other ideas? I'm getting a few comments here in the chat. Let me see if I can see them. Yes, those consent forms also include allergies, medication signatures. Correct. Very, very good. Anything else you guys want to add? Delegate, right? You guys were talking about delegating before. You guys were mentioning that the volunteers. Richard mentioned that as well. You don't want to take an event by yourself. You need people. You need help, and definitely this is every time you do an event, you want to make sure that you create groups, that you create teams that help you with it, right? Okay, we're gonna move to fundraising. And this is the fun part. This is right where we talk about money. Show me the money. Fundraising. Some of the things I want to add to this is don't do it alone. You don't want to go ahead and do it alone. Now, a lot of the times as leaders, what we tend to do is we tend to spend more money out of our pocket than the actual money that we are able to raise, and that's not what you're there for. You're not there to just contribute out of your pocket and go broke or have to make other sacrifices because you're the leader. That's not why you're there. You're there to be able to facilitate enough fundraising events for that one activity or event that you want to go to. So don't do it alone. Create teams, assign responsibilities, establish a purpose, and thank you notes to major contributors, right? When I used to do what I just mentioned, the Sunday before, that I would place the students in the front, those that would give $100, $150, those that will tell me, hey, I want to sponsor one kid, and they will do $200. I would take the time to not print out thank you notes. I will take the time, go to the dollar store and get 10, 15, whatever the case might be, 10, 15 thank you notes. There's only $1. You're only going to spend $10, $15. But then with your own handwriting, write them a thank you note, right? You don't want to do that on the computer and just sign it. You're not taking the time. You're not making it special for them. And that thank you note with your handwriting can go a long way. And a long way, I mean that parent or that individual is just going to be there for whenever you got to knock on that door to ask for whatever a favor. They're going to be willing to help out because they saw the thank you note. They heard the testimonies after youth camp or after the event, and they felt like it was worth it. So make sure that you include something. Some other people that have a little bit more money, they invest with a little present that they want to give you alongside the thank you note. But a thank you note will go a long way. You have no idea. Any other thing that you guys would like to include in here? Nothing else? So, all right. So we're going to go ahead now. And if you want to take a screenshot of the screen right now, we're about to divide in small groups. We're right now about to divide in small groups. So if you want to go ahead, take a screenshot of the screen right now, because we're about to divide in small groups. Take a screenshot. If not, I'll send you the questions in a little bit. But once you have taken a screenshot, I'm gonna go ahead and take this. I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and break out And I'm gonna try again to send those questions, but we're gonna divide into two groups. Actually, we're quite a few people, so let's just do 3 groups. That's gonna be 4 to 5 people per group, and just talk about those questions. Before we divide, let me see if I can read those questions to you. The question number 1 is gonna be, hold on. Okay, question number 1 is gonna be, what big event are you planning now? And question number 2, how will you incorporate these ideas into your planning? Okay, so with that being said, go ahead and we'll see you guys in 15 minutes. You can join your group now. Hey, Rosana, did you guys finish?
I think it kicked me out. I was having connection issues, but I came back and I was just here. Like I never got connected.
Oh,
3.
yeah. Anybody else from 3 that got kicked out too?
No, when I went, there was nobody there. It was just me.
Oh, but you guys were done speaking, or you guys never got to the conversation?
No, when you put me on the breakout room, that's when I got out. Then when I got back in right now, there was nobody there. So I don't know if there was somebody or you put me by myself. I don't know.
No. There was supposed to be a couple more people.
Oh, my bad.
Let's start bringing back them.
Okay.
I'm gonna start bringing back everybody then.
Está bien.
Okay. Seems like we got everybody. Well, welcome back, everybody. Let's start with group 1. What are some of the things that you guys were able to implement?
So I think we were group 1. It was me, Daddy Lopez. It was also Yolanda, and also I think she left. Yeah, I think she left. But anyway, it was 4 of us, and the next events that are coming up, just to put it all together, it was there was a church that they're gonna have a soccer game for Father's Day. So for Father's Day, it's gonna be the fathers versus the younger males, and that's gonna be their hangout for the Father's Day. And then also there's a field day happening. They're gonna have they have people that like doing track and soccer, and so they're gonna do that. And then for my church, we're gonna have a talent night in July, and there we plan on inviting different people to bring their talents. It could be a skit, it could be a rap, it could be a spoken word. So that's the things that are coming up for our churches in the division. That's what we're planning so far. But in terms of organizing all of those things, we had similar strategies. We all have a to-do list. So pretty much like you mentioned, Angel, like having steps, like we're gonna have to, we'll do this first, we do this second, like that. And we use apps for that, like different apps that helps us with that. And then also like for the field day
What
and the soccer
can you
game.
recommend some of the apps?
Yeah, so there's a good app called Time Tree. So in Time Tree, you can put events there. You can put the time and all of that, but also in the event itself, you can put steps or notes, and there everything is organized. And the one that I use personally is another one that's called Todoist, minus the L. So it's to-do list, but without the L. And this one, you could have it on your phone, but it's also on your desktop. So if you add it to your phone, and you'll have it on your computer as well when you get home or you're on your laptop. And so that one's really good to have all the steps. And yeah, so I was saying for the soccer and field day, they're gonna invite their players individually. That's the step, and then advertising. We spoke a good amount of time for advertising, like knowing how to promote it, who you're promoting it to, how what audience you're reaching to, and all of that. Oh yeah, and then Daddy said that Time Tree, you can share it with your youth. So if you have a youth team, a youth board team, you can share with everyone, and as you input the event or the list, everybody can see at the same time. So that was pretty much
Nice.
what we spoke.
Nice, very good. Team number 2 or group number 2? Group number 2?
Sorry. Yes, that was us. We are, let me think, please. We talked about one of, well, I'm going to talk about the event that I spoke about, which is putting together a Airbnb event with our youth, which is an overnight event. We had talked to them about doing camping, but they're not camping people. So we opted for doing an Airbnb. One of the things I believe to incorporate is delegation, just because I'm one of those people that just likes to know that everything's done. And I like to have, it's okay. And to have everything like done on time. So I at least, not trusting, but like giving that opportunity to my youth leaders and the youth themselves and their parents or the volunteers that we have to be able to take on things that need to be done in a timely manner. Have consent sent out because, mind you, this is an overnight event, and it includes a pool and it includes the beach the following day. So, having those understanding who knows how to swim, who needs extra, support, who has allergies, all of those things. And then making sure we have all parent contact information in order for if there is an emergency, what is the plan, who takes, who stays with the kids, who needs to go, like those things. I feel like those things are important. And then Jerilyn mentioned vigilia, a part vigilia, and she's trying to figure out how she's going to not just incorporate the prayer and the songs, which are very important components, but also bring something that's going to be more useful to keep her youth engaged. So she's also working on that and making sure that there are people there who are going to help her. She's kind of like me, that she wants to make sure everything is being done at a certain time. And so just making sure that we're giving that opportunity and figuring out how to make it work, not just by ourselves, because that's not possible. We're not lone wolves, but, or the Lone Ranger. We have teams and people for that reason, just learning to be able to execute that effectively.
Very good. Very good. And I like the already ahead of time thinking of, delegating and making it a priority that you delegate. Some people, and we over talk about micromanaging, but some people really take it to the heart of wanting to do everything perfect, especially when it comes to events. So I'm glad that you guys are planning ahead. Group 3, I know Rosanna was there and maybe Joanelis, but you guys got disconnected. Do you want to share something that maybe you would have wanted to talk or bring to the conversation? Rosanna y Joanelis?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now.
Good. So I didn't get to share anything. I've been having disconnected, but for when we prepare for big events, the key for us for CDR is the teamwork. That's number one. It's gonna help organize everything, and then of course keep each other communicated at all times. And then follow-ups throughout the month for youth camp, for example. We had in our meetings follow-up meetings like every month, which helped us like be on the same page, everybody. Okay, this is our goal for this month, to have this amount of money from this amount of people. So I think the teamwork is number one key.
Nice, very good, very, very good. Joanelis, you wanted to say something too?
Sorry if the signal's bad. I'm currently in Puerto Rico. That's why I got kicked out earlier. But for us, specifically for our youth group, our youth directors do a really good job of like working with promo with social media. And also for us, we really like to, after services or after any activities we have with the youth, we try to like connect with them individually, like as they're walking out the door and going to their homes, and reminding them of events and reminding them of like coming deadlines or anything like that, just to let them know that we're keeping up with them and we're invested in them participating and showing up to these kind of events.
Nice, very, very good. I'm going to share now the homework, and you guys could take take a screenshot of it. Can you guys see it? Let me see. Can you guys see the homework right now?
Yes.
Okay. So if you guys want, you can take a screenshot of it right now. And then I'm going to read it to you. It says, if youth camp would happen in person this year, how will you plan for it? See, and I don't know if you noticed, but during the class, we threw some examples. We threw some examples. We gave some ideas when we talked about it. So if it would happen in person this year, how will you plan for it? We were kind of discussing that. And then question number 2, I mean, well, it's actually, instead of a question, it's actually a statement, but, and then the statement number 2 is type 1 to 2 pages of your plan for your youth, including fundraising, permits or forms, accounts, deadlines, and teams. So how will you prepare for that? All right. So make sure that you take that screenshot and make sure that you get ready for this event in case, you know, that in case that will happen in person. How will you prepare for it? Okay. So that's homework. Today was the last class of level 1. Thank you so much for making it. I feel that we were able to, you know, cross the line and make it. So like I said at the beginning, just make sure that you turn in everything and you check on Neil, the homework, and you do it by June 15. June 15 is going to be the deadline to turn in everything. That way we can send it to Cleveland, Tennessee, alongside all the paperwork that you send, and you get ready for graduation in October. Also make sure that you are attentive to NYLA level 2 happening as well, starting in August of this year, level number 2. And if you haven't registered for that, you could do it at the link that I submitted at the beginning, the link of our region. In there, you look for the youth department, and we'll have all the information in there as well. All right. So nothing will come to an end. Let's pray and thank God. Amen. Thank you, Lord, for tonight. Thank you, Lord, for NYLA level 1. Thank you so much for the opportunity of learning, of growing, and God, becoming better leaders, youth leaders. I pray for each and every single one of them, for their families, for these special leaders that you've placed them in their churches to serve you, but also serve a phenomenal, wonderful group of students. God, I pray that through them, those students can see your love, your mercy for them, and they also can fall in love with you, and you can transform their lives forever. I thank you for each and every single one of them, and for what they're doing, for their roles and responsibilities, and because they're taking the time to give you their best always. Thank you so much, and we pray in the name of Jesus. Amen and amen. Well, guys, see you soon. We'll love you. Have a great night. God bless you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. God bless.
Good night.